I spent 4 nights in the hospital and my parents never came. My sister posted, "Finally, peace." My name is Mason. I'm 29 years old, and I live in the US. I'm posting from a throwaway because my sister lives online and I don't want this story turned into her content. I'm not writing this for sympathy. I'm writing it because I still can't get over how normal my family acted while doing something that felt unforgivable. 4 nights in the hospital. No parents. Just my sister's post. Finally, peace. That sentence is a knife when you know the context. Let me explain the family dynamic first, because without it, this just sounds like random cruelty. My sister Alyssa is 27. She's the golden child, the charismatic one, the one who is sensitive, misunderstood, and always trying her best. When Alyssa gets upset, everyone moves. When I get upset, I'm told to calm down. My parents are not cartoon villains. They've never hit me. They've never screamed constantly. They do something quieter. They reward whoever makes their life easier. Alyssa makes them feel needed. I make them feel guilty, because I'm the reminder that they didn't protect me from Alyssa's chaos growing up. So I became the kid who kept his head down. The easy one. The one who didn't need anything. That's not a personality, by the way, that's training. Alyssa learned early that she could get away with almost anything if she cried the right way. She learned that she could break something, then point at me and say I provoked her, and my parents would believe her because it was less work than holding her accountable. It wasn't always dramatic, sometimes it was small. If I got attention for a grade or a sports win, Alyssa suddenly had a panic attack, and everyone had to stop what they were doing. If I had friends over, Alyssa would pick a fight and then cry that I excluded her. If I brought a girlfriend home as a teenager, Alyssa would make comments, flirt, or embarrass me until the girlfriend stopped coming around. My parents called it siblings being siblings, but it never felt equal. It felt like Alyssa was allowed to hurt me, and I was required to forgive her. I moved out at 18 and never moved back. I went to college, got a job, tried to build a life where I wasn't constantly braced for the next family drama. But no matter how far you move, your family can still pull you back emotionally. 2 months ago, I got sick. It started like a normal flu fever, chills, exhaustion. I figured I'd ride it out. I work in IT and can work remotely, so I stayed home, drank fluids, and tried to sleep. Then, one night, my breathing felt wrong, not congested, but tight, like my chest was heavy. I got dizzy just walking to the bathroom. My vision tunneled. It scared me enough that I called urgent care. The nurse on the phone told me to go to the ER. So I did. Alone. I texted my parents on the way. I'm going to the hospital. Can someone come? No response. I called. It went to voicemail. I thought maybe they were asleep, so I texted my sister too because sometimes, when Alyssa isn't the center of the situation, she can act like a normal person for a few minutes. Alyssa, I'm in the ER. Can you tell mom and dad? I'm scared. She replied 10 minutes later. Okay. That was it. At the ER, they ran tests. I'm not going to share medical details beyond what's necessary, but the short version is, it was serious enough that they admitted me. 4 nights. The first night, I kept checking my phone, expecting my parents to call when they woke up. Nothing. The second day, I called my mom from my hospital bed. She answered sounding annoyed, like I woke her from a nap. What? She said. I said, Mom, I'm admitted. Can you come? She paused. I'm busy, she said. Buzzy. I stared at the hospital ceiling like it had answers. With what? I asked. My mom sighed. Your sister needs me, she said. My stomach dropped. Alyssa needs you? I repeated. I'm in the hospital. My mom's voice sharpened. Don't be dramatic, she snapped. Alyssa is having a hard week. She's anxious. I felt something break inside me. I'm scared, I whispered. My mom said, You're an adult. You'll be fine. Then she hung up. I sat there in a hospital bed feeling like I was 12 again, watching my sister take all the oxygen in the room while I learned to breathe quietly. The third day, my dad texted, Heard you're in the hospital. Hope you feel better. He didn't call. He didn't come. Just a casual text like, I had a cold. That night, I stopped expecting them. And that's when I saw Alyssa's post. It was on her Instagram story. Black background. White text, the kind of quote people post when they want attention without being accountable. It said, Finally, peace. No name, no context, but I knew exactly what she meant. She meant, with me in the hospital, the family's attention wasn't split. My absence was her peace. And the comments were worse because people replied with heart emojis and "you deserve peace" and "protect your energy." Alyssa reposted them. I stared at my phone shaking, not from fever, but from rage. Because she wasn't just ignoring me, she was celebrating my suffering. I took a screenshot, then another. Then I checked my parents' accounts. My mom had liked Alyssa's post. My dad had liked it too. That's when I realized it wasn't that they didn't know. They knew. They just didn't care enough to show up. On day 4, I was discharged. I took a ride share home alone. No one offered to pick me up. No one brought soup. No one asked what I needed. When I got home, my apartment felt huge and silent. I sat on my couch and stared at the wall, and for the first time in my life, I stopped asking, why don't they love me the same? I started asking, why am I still offering them access to me at all? That's where this story really begins. Because when I confronted my family, they didn't apologize. They did what they always do. They blamed me for reacting. The first night home after the hospital, I couldn't sleep. I wasn't in pain anymore, but my brain wouldn't stop replaying my mom's voice, saying, "Your sister needs me." I kept picturing my parents liking Alyssa's finally peace story like it was normal, like my absence was a relief they could publicly celebrate. The next morning, I did something I had avoided for years. I confronted it directly. I didn't do it in the family group chat. I didn't post online. I didn't want a social media war. I wanted an answer from the people who were supposed to care. I texted my mom, "Can you come over today? I need to talk." She replied 2 hours later. "About what?" I wrote, "About the hospital." Her response was instant. "You're fine now." That sentence told me everything. If I survived, then nothing mattered. In my family, harm only counts if it stays dramatic. I wrote back, "I was admitted for 4 nights. You didn't visit. You didn't call. You liked Alyssa's peace post." No response. Then I texted my dad separately, "Did you know I was admitted for 4 nights and didn't visit once?" He replied, "I didn't think you wanted people fussing." Fussing, like showing up for your kid is fussing. I typed, "I called mom and asked her to come." My dad didn't reply after that. So I called my mom. She answered sounding irritated, like I was interfering with her day. "What?" she said. I kept my voice calm. "Mom, why didn't you come to the hospital?" She sighed. "Mason, you were stable. You're an adult." I said, "I was scared." My mom snapped, "Don't be dramatic." I felt my throat tighten. Alyssa posted, "Finally, peace. You liked it." There was a pause. Then my mom laughed like I'd told a joke. "Oh my God," she said. "It's a quote. You're reading into it." "It's a quote." She acted like context didn't exist. I said, "It was posted while I was in the hospital." My mom's voice hardened. "Your sister has anxiety," she said. "She's been under stress." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "I was in the hospital," I repeated. "What about my stress?" My mom snapped, "You always do this. You always make everything about you." That line hit like a punch because it was backwards. I had literally been alone in a hospital bed. The only person making it about themselves was my sister, and my mom was still protecting her. I said, "Mom, I saw you liked it." My mom went quiet for a second, then said, "So you're stalking us now?" There it was, turning my reaction into the crime. I kept my voice calm because I knew if I got loud, she'd use it as proof I'm unstable. "I'm not stalking. I saw it. It hurt. I need you to acknowledge it." My mom scoffed. "What do you want me to say?" I said, "I want you to say it was wrong." My mom sighed like I was exhausting her. "Fine. It was insensitive," she said. "Insensitive. Not cruel, not messed up, just insensitive." Then she added the sentence that made my stomach drop. "But honestly, Mason, it has been peaceful without constant tension." I froze. "Without me," I said. My mom didn't deny it. I felt my chest tighten so hard it was hard to breathe. "So you agree with her?" My mom's voice got sharp. "I agree that we don't need drama right now," she snapped. "Your sister is finally doing better and you always show up with an issue. I stared at my kitchen wall, feeling like the air was leaving my body. She was saying the quiet part out loud. My role in the family is problem. My sister's role is needs protecting. My pain is an inconvenience. I said quietly, "Mom, I'm done." She laughed. "You're not done." I said, "I'm done trying to earn basic care." My mom snapped, "You're being manipulative." That word manipulative coming from the person who used guilt and abandonment as control made me want to scream. Instead, I stayed calm. "I'm taking space," I said. "Don't contact me for a while." My mom's voice rose. "You're punishing us." I said, "No, I'm protecting myself." Then I hung up. My hands were shaking. Not because the call was intense, but because it confirmed what I'd been avoiding. My parents didn't just accidentally neglect me, they chose it. They liked my absence. An hour later, Alyssa texted me, "You need to stop attacking Mom." I stared at the message. I replied, "I'm not attacking her. I'm telling her how I felt." Alyssa responded, "You're always the victim. You love being sick so people feel sorry for you." My stomach turned. I didn't reply. I screenshot it. Then she sent, "Finally peace. And then you ruin it." So, the story post was about me. No more ambiguity. That was the moment my anger turned into something cleaner, decision. I texted Alyssa, "Do not contact me again." She replied instantly, "Lol, you'll be back." I blocked her. Then I blocked my mom. I didn't block my dad yet. I wanted to see if he would choose me when my mom wasn't directing the conversation. My dad texted later that night, "Your mother is upset." I replied, "I was in the hospital 4 nights. She didn't come. I'm taking space." My dad responded, "Your mother has a lot on her plate." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I wrote, "So did I." And I blocked him too. I didn't feel empowered. I felt hollow. Because cutting off family doesn't feel like victory. It feels like admitting you were alone already. But here's what surprised me. The silence that followed didn't feel lonely. It felt quiet in a good way, like my nervous system wasn't waiting for the next jab. 2 days later, my aunt messaged me asking if I was okay. I told her, briefly, that I was taking space from my parents and sister. She replied, "I don't blame you. I saw the story. It was cruel." That was the first validation I got from anyone in the family besides my own brain. Then she said something that hinted there was more under the surface. "Alyssa has been telling people you ruin things for years. She says you're the reason Mom and Dad are stressed." I stared at that message and felt my stomach drop. My sister hadn't just celebrated my absence, she'd been building a narrative about me for a long time. And if she'd been doing that, there was probably a reason. Because people don't campaign against someone unless they're trying to protect something. That's when I realized my hospital stay wasn't the beginning of the story. It was the moment the mask slipped, and I was about to find out what my sister was really hiding. A week into no contact, my body started to feel normal again. I was eating, I was sleeping, I wasn't checking my phone every 5 minutes. Then my dad showed up at my apartment. No text, no warning. Just a knock like he still had automatic access to me. I didn't open the door right away. I looked through the peephole and saw him standing there with his hands in his pockets, looking tired and uncomfortable. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. "What do you want?" I asked. My dad swallowed. "Can we talk?" he said. I didn't step aside. "Here is fine," I said. My dad looked offended for a second, then he nodded. He said, "Your mom is not okay." I almost laughed. "I wasn't okay either," I said, "in the hospital." My dad flinched. "I know," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." That apology was rare. It made me pause. Then he said, "Alyssa is spiraling." I stared at him. "What does that have to do with me?" I asked. My dad hesitated, then said, "She's afraid you'll tell people the truth." "The truth about what?" My stomach tightened. "What truth?" I asked. My dad looked away. "We need you to come to a meeting," he said. A meeting? Like I was a problem employee. I said, "No." My dad's voice hardened. "Mason, don't do this," he snapped. "Just come. We need to talk as a family." I stared at him. "You didn't need a family talk when I was alone in the hospital," I said. "Now you need one because Alyssa is uncomfortable." My dad's jaw tightened. Then he said something I didn't expect. Alyssa lied about something serious. I felt cold. About what? I asked. My dad hesitated too long. I said, Dad, if you're here, say it. He exhaled. Your sister has been telling everyone she's the reason you got admitted, he said quietly. I blinked. What? My dad nodded, looking ashamed. She's telling people you did something to yourself, he said. She's saying you're unstable and that she's been trying to protect Mom from you. My stomach dropped. She's saying I did this to myself? I whispered. My dad didn't deny it. My hands started shaking, because now I understood why she posted, finally, peace. It wasn't just cruelty, it was narrative control. She was framing my hospitalization as proof I'm the problem. I said, why would she say that? I asked. My dad swallowed hard. Because she's scared, he said. Scared of what? I asked. My dad looked like he didn't want to answer. Then he said, she took something from you years ago. My whole body went cold. What did she take? I asked. My dad's eyes filled with tears. Your college fund, he whispered. I stared at him, stunned. When I was 18, I got a small college fund from my grandfather. Not huge, but enough to cover tuition at community college and give me a start. I remember it clearly because my grandfather made a big deal about it. He said it was for my future, specifically. I never saw that money. My mom told me the account lost value and that the timing was bad and it basically disappeared because of fees and life. I was young and overwhelmed, and I believed her because I didn't want to see my mom as someone who would lie about money. My dad continued, voice shaking, Alyssa used it. Over time, Mom covered it. My stomach turned. You knew? I asked, voice low. My dad looked down. I suspected, he admitted. But your mom handled finances. Alyssa always had emergencies. It was always temporary. I felt like I couldn't breathe. So you abandoned me in the hospital, I said slowly, and she was posting about peace because she's afraid I'll find out she stole from me. My dad didn't answer, which was an answer. I leaned against the doorframe, dizzy. My dad said, your mom wants to fix it. Fix it, like you fix a broken appliance. I said, I don't want to fix it, I replied. I want the truth. My dad nodded. That's why I'm here, he said. Because I can't keep lying. He handed me a folder. Inside were printed bank statements, old ones. I stared at them. The account name, the withdrawals, the transfers. It was real. My sister didn't just hurt my feelings. She took my future. And my parents didn't just neglect me. They protected her while letting me believe the world was unfair, and I just had to work harder. I looked up at my dad. Why now? I asked. He whispered. Because your hospitalization scared me, he said. And because Alyssa is getting sloppy. She's bragging that she finally got peace, and she's been telling people you're unstable. It's going to blow up anyway. So he came to me not out of loyalty, but out of fear of exposure. That hurt, but it also gave me leverage, proof. I asked my dad, how much? I said. He swallowed. Most of it, he admitted. Over a couple years. I nodded slowly. Then I asked, did Mom know? I asked. My dad whispered, yes. I felt something in me go quiet, like a switch. I said, tell Mom to stop calling me, I said, and tell Alyssa to stop posting about me. My dad nodded quickly. Okay, he said. Then I said, I'm not coming to a meeting. My dad looked desperate. Please, he said. She'll admit it. She'll apologize. I stared at him. Apologies don't undo theft, I said. My dad started crying. I failed you, he whispered. I didn't comfort him. Not because I'm cruel. Because I wasn't going to manage his feelings anymore. I said, leave the folder, I told him. Go. He left. When the door closed, I sat on my couch holding those statements like they were proof I hadn't imagined my entire life. And I realized something hard. The hospital wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that my family didn't show up because they were comfortable with my absence. It was convenient. And now they wanted me back. Not because they loved me, but because they were scared of what I knew. So I made a plan. I wasn't going to scream online. I wasn't going to make a scene. I was going to do the cleanest thing possible, tell the truth with receipts, and then decide what access they deserved. Because peace isn't pretending everything is fine. Peace is having a life where people can't keep taking from you. I didn't confront my mom immediately. I waited 2 days because I wanted to be sure I could speak without shaking. I wanted to be calm. In my family, calm is power, because they're used to labeling me as emotional. I texted my mom from my work phone. She hadn't blocked that yet. "Mom, I know about the college fund. We need to talk." She replied within a minute. "What are you talking about?" Denial. Immediate. I said, "I have the bank statements." No response for 5 minutes. Then, "Come over, we'll talk." She wanted it in private. No evidence trail. So I replied, "No, we talk at Grandma's, with Dad present." My mom hated that, but she agreed, because she knew denial wouldn't work with receipts. We met at my grandmother's house. My grandmother, bless her, didn't know what she was walking into. She thought it was just family tension from the hospital. She made tea. She asked if I was feeling better. She looked relieved to see me alive. My mom walked in with that tight smile she uses when she's preparing to perform. Alyssa came too, and she looked nervous for the first time in years. Not guilty. Nervous. My dad sat quietly like he wanted to disappear. I didn't waste time. I placed the bank statements on the table and said, "Explain." My mom's smile disappeared. Alyssa looked at the papers like they were poisonous. My mom said, "Mason, this is ancient history." Ancient history. My stolen future. I said, "It wasn't ancient to me. I didn't know what happened." My mom's tone sharpened. "We use that money to keep the family stable," she snapped. "Your sister was going through a lot." Of course. It always came back to Alyssa. I turned to Alyssa. "Did you take it?" I asked. Alyssa started crying immediately. "I was young," she sobbed. "I didn't know." My grandmother looked horrified. "What is happening?" she whispered. My mom snapped, "Mom, stay out of it." I said calmly, "Grandma, Alyssa took my college fund. Mom covered it." My grandmother's mouth fell open. Alyssa cried harder. "I was depressed," she said. "I needed help." I stared at her. "So you stole from me?" I asked. Alyssa shouted, "You always had everything!" Then she froze like she'd said the wrong line. My mother glared at her, then turned to me and said, "This is why we didn't come to the hospital. You always turn things into an attack." There it was. She said it out loud. I blinked. "You didn't come because you didn't want to face me?" I asked. My mom snapped, "You always blame us." I said, "I was alone in the hospital." My mom shrugged. "You're an adult," she said coldly. My grandmother started crying. "How could you not go?" she whispered to my mom. My mom snapped. "Because I'm tired of his drama." And then Alyssa, shaking with anger, said quietly, "It was peaceful." Peaceful, the same word as her post. My blood went cold. I looked at Alyssa. "So you meant the post?" I said. Alyssa's eyes flashed. "You always ruin everything," she hissed. "You show up and everyone feels guilty." I realized then that Alyssa didn't just want attention. She wanted me gone, because my existence made her feel accountable. I said, "You stole from me," I repeated. Alyssa screamed, "It should have been mine." My grandmother flinched. My dad looked down. My mom looked angry at me, not at Alyssa. That was the final proof. Even with evidence, my mom still aligned with Alyssa emotionally. So I said calmly, "Okay." My mom blinked. "Okay?" I nodded. "Okay," I said. "Here's what happens next." I took out a paper I'd prepared, simple boundaries, written clearly. "I am going no contact with Alyssa. Do not give her my number. Do not update her about me. Do not invite her to events with me. If you do, I leave." My mom scoffed. "You can't do that." I looked at her. "Watch me." Then I said, "I will have limited contact with you and Dad if you accept responsibility for the money and if you stop enabling Alyssa." My mom laughed bitterly. "So you're blackmailing us?" I said, "No, I'm setting terms for a relationship." My grandmother whispered, "Mason." I softened slightly toward her. "Grandma, I'm not punishing you," I said. "But I'm done being the person everyone sacrifices." I stood up. My mom snapped, "Where are you going?" I said, "Home." Alyssa shouted, "Good." And as I walked out, my mom called after me, "You'll regret this." I didn't turn around. Because for the first time, I wasn't afraid of losing them. They had already shown me what their love cost. It's been 3 months since that meeting. I stayed no contact with Alyssa. I blocked her everywhere. I blocked my mom for a week after she tried to send me a family is family message, pretending nothing happened. Then my dad reached out with a real apology. Not a vague one, a specific one. He wrote, "I failed you. I let your mother protect Alyssa at your expense. I'm sorry." That was the first time in my life I felt like my dad saw me as a person, not a role. My mom didn't apologize. She tried. But her version of trying was, "Let's move on." My grandmother, however, did something that surprised everyone. She told my mom she was ashamed. She said she wouldn't attend events if I wasn't invited. She told Alyssa she needed to get help and stop acting like cruelty is a personality. I didn't expect Grandma to pick a side, but she didn't pick me over Alyssa. She picked decency. The money issue didn't magically fix itself. My mom tried to dismiss it as old. But my dad and grandmother pressured her. Eventually, my parents offered repayment partial, over time. Not because they suddenly became saints, but because the lie couldn't survive daylight anymore. I accepted repayment, not because money was the main point, but because it was accountability in a language my family understood. Alyssa, meanwhile, kept posting online. Vague quotes. "Protect your peace. Cut toxic people." She framed herself as the victim of my coldness. But without my reaction, her posts started getting less attention. And that's the thing about people who feed on conflict. If you stop feeding them, they shrink. I still get sad sometimes. I still grieve the idea of having parents who would show up for me in a hospital. I still grieve the version of a sister I wish Alyssa could be. But here's the unexpected part. My life is calmer now. Not because nothing hurts, but because I'm not living in a system where my pain is inconvenient and someone else's chaos is sacred. And that's the lesson I'm taking from this. You can love your family and still choose distance. You can forgive internally and still refuse access. Peace isn't silence. Peace is safety. That's the inspirational line I wish I'd understood years ago. Real peace isn't the absence of you, it's the presence of respect. Alyssa's post said, "Finally, peace," as if my suffering was her relief. But the truth is, the only real peace I've found is the peace that comes from not begging for basic decency. So, Aita? Aita for going no contact after my parents abandoned me in the hospital and my sister celebrated it? Some relatives think I'm harsh. They say I should let it go. But letting it go is how Alyssa got away with everything in the first place. Letting it go is how my mom kept protecting her. I'm done letting it go. If you're reading this and you feel like your family only wants you when you're convenient, I want you to hear this. You are not a burden for needing love. You're not dramatic for wanting basic care. And you are allowed to protect yourself, even if people call it selfish. Because sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is stop chasing the family you wish you had and start building the life you actually deserve. That's my final update. And if you want more Reddit-style stories like this family drama, receipts, boundaries, and real consequences, subscribe to the channel. I post long stories regularly, and the next one is even crazier. Would you have gone no contact too? Or would you have tried to forgive them after the hospital?